श्रीभगवानुवाच इमं विवस्वते योगम् प्रोक्तवानहमव्ययम् विवस्वान्मनवे प्राह मनुरिक्ष्वाकवे ब्रवीत् एवं परम्परा प्राप्तम् इमं राजर्षयो विदुः सकाले नेह महता योगो नष्टः परन्तप स एवायं मया तेद्य योगः प्रोक्तः पुरातनः भक्तोऽसि मे सखा चेति रहस्यं ह्येतदुत्तमम् अर्जुन उवाच अपरं भवतो जन्म परं जन्म विवस्वतः कथमेतद्विजानीयाम् त्वमादौ प्रोक्तवानिति श्रीभगवानुवाच बहूनि मे व्यतीतानि The ni is hrasva, not dirgha. Okay, so I am hearing bahuni me vyatitani. Instead it should be, that's not what it should be. Okay, instead it should be bahuni me vyatitani janmani tava charjuna तान्यहं वेद सर्वाणि न त्वं वेत्थ परन्तप अजोऽपि सन्नव्ययात्मा अव्ययात्मा अजोऽपि सन्नव्ययात्मा ये बात है, वेरी गुड। भूतानामीश्वरोऽपि सन् प्रकृतिं स्वामधिष्ठाय सम्भवाम्यात्ममायया यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य ग्लानिर्भवति भारत अभ्युत्थानमधर्मस्य तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहम् परित्राणाय साधूनां च दुष्कृताम् धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे जन्म कर्म च मे दिव्यम् एवं यो वेत्ति तत्त्वतः त्यक्त्वा देहं पुनर्जन्म नैति मामेति सोऽर्जुन वीतरागभयक्रोधाः मन्मया मामुपाश्रिताः बहवो ज्ञानतपसा भूता मद्भावमागताः ये यथा मां प्रपद्यन्ते तांस्तथैव भजाम्यहम् मम वर्त्मानुवर्तन्ते मनुष्या पार्थ सर्वशः काङ्क्षन्तः कर्मणां सिद्धिम् यजन्त इह देवताः क्षिप्रं हि मानुषे लोके सिद्धिर्भवति कर्मजा ॐ सहना भवतु नमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. We have seen all about the avatara. We have seen the cause of the avatara's birth, and the cause is all jnanam, no ajnanam, the circumstances of the avatara's birth, whereas the jiva is steeped in what? Atma ajnanam. Two kinds of ajnanam for the jiva, two kinds of ignorances. Ignorance of the self, ignorance of the I, and then what other ignorance is there? Of not I. This is Vedanta. To make it appear more complex than it is. Ignorance of I, Atma Ajnanam, and Ajnanam of Anatma also. Two kinds of ignorances assail one at birth. I don't know who I am, that is for sure. I don't know who is the mother, who is the father. Some familiar words I may know, some voices may be familiar, but the baby doesn't know who the mother is, who the father is. Baby doesn't know what civics is, what geography is. Nothing. Forget sociology, psychology, chemistry, biochemistry, microbiology, all these things, nothing it knows. And as one grows up, the aparavidya ajnanam, the ajnanam, aparavidya is not I. I is paravidya. Knowledge of I, Paravidya, Aparavidya that we see in the Mundakopanishad, knowledge of not I. Both have to be studied, both have to be known. Though Dve Vidye Veditavye, in the beginning the child does not know either. Either one the child does not know itself, does not know other things and other people as well, does not know any other branch of knowledge. But anatma ajnanam drops on its own. Through the regular socialization, growing up process, the anatma ajnanam drops on its own. Child has parents, primary caregivers, the child goes to school and then more ajnanam drops. What ajnanam? Anatma ajnanam. Atma ajnanam does not drop until one chooses to know. It does not drop on its own. So the jiva's birth is with two ajnanams. Ishvara, if she takes a birth in a human body or any other body, both the ajnanams are not there. So from the standpoint of self-knowledge, we call Bhagavan Sarvajnah. From the standpoint of Aparavidya, we call Bhagavan as Sarvavit, Sarvavetritvam, same meaning, but knows all the branches of knowledge, is born with full knowledge of everything. But if it's a human life and a human birth, it becomes a Krida. Krida means what? Game. Some people call it by Leela. Leela. You can call it Leela or you can call it Krida. It's all a game because one already knows. It's like a grown person playing a child's game with a child. The grown person already knows how this game is going to end. The grown person can win easily, but lets the child win out of the largesse of the heart. Lets the child win, moves a little slowly, pretends to fall down, pretends to not know the next move, whatever it is. This is how Bhagavan is pretending to have a human life full of both the kinds of jnana. Paravidya is there, self-knowledge is fully there, and all branches of knowledge are known to Bhagavan as Avatara. So this much we have seen. And then the purpose, the Swarupa of the Avatara, as explained by Bhagavan in this verse, Ajaha Apisan Avyayatma Bhutanam Ishwaropisan. Which number is that? 6. As according to verse number 6. So, Ajaha Avyayaha, we know Bhagavan, we know Brahman, Bhagavan from two standpoints. One is from the Swarupa. Bhagavan's Swarupa is what? Satchidananda, Satyam Jnanam Anantam. This is called Swarupa Lakshana, that which never changes. Then we have a Lakshana, a definition based on a causality that is ascribed to Bhagavan. And what is this? It's a temporary causality in relation to the Jagat, vis-a-vis the Jagat. Vis-a-vis the Jagat, there is an ascribed causality. And as though causality because of the Shakti. So Bhagavan's Shakti projects this whole universe, and Maya, yes, projects the whole universe, and then raw material non-separate from Bhagavan, the whole Jagat non-separate from Bhagavan, yet Bhagavan has the all-knowing, all Adhipatya. Adhipatya means overlordship over the Jagat. So as an avatara still has overlordship while simultaneously either enjoying or suffering from the limitations of the particular body mind sense complex in which Ishvara is born as though. So here we have an ascribed causality. When we invoke Ishvara, we have a causality that is ascribed. Because when we look at Bhagavan through the lens of the Jagat, who is the cause of the Jagat? Bhagavan, Ishvara. So Ishvara wearing a crown. and having a wonderful cape full of galaxies, stars, embroidered, everything that you see through the Webb telescope. I mean, and so many things about the universe wait to be discovered because we don't have better telescopes. All this time it was Hubble, Hubble, Hubble. Now Hubble is nowhere to be heard of. It's all hobble, hobble. It's hobbling around somewhere, replaced completely by James Webb telescope. And today it has made the discovery, not today, yesterday. Yesterday it made the discovery that in a faraway galaxy, some planets have water. It has been able to detect the water. And the scientists gets very, the astronomers and all the NASA people get very excited. Why? Because look at what we are doing to this planet. We want to have a planet B. We want to quickly have some kind of a Goldilocks planet to move to. What is Goldilocks planet? Neither too hot nor too cold. From that story of the three bears and Goldilocks. So this is how this is what Bhagavan is. So we have this whole universe, and in relation to the whole universe there is overlordship. Whereas the Jiva is wearing a hood of Ajnanam along with a dunce cap. Sit in the corner, you don't know yourself, you don't know anything else either. That's the only difference between the Jiva and Ishvara, who is the Avatara. That's one of the differences, but the primary difference is in the Upadhi. All knowing Upadhi and not knowing Upadhi. That's the only difference. And so the equation, the Mahavakya, does not therefore operate on the level of the Upadhi. Cognitively, we go beyond the Upadhi of all knowledge, all power, all Shakti, all might, omniscience, everything. We go beyond that and we see the Swarupa Lakshana. What is the Swarupa Lakshana? Satyam Jnanam Anantam or Sat Chit Ananda. Same thing we do for the Jiva. We remove the poor fellow's dunce cap and we remove the stifling hood in which one becomes invisible, and we remove all the things that are coming and going. Body coming and going, mind coming and going, all the upadhi coming and going. And when that cognitively it is removed, what remains is Sat Chit Ananda Atma. That is how the Mahavakya operates. And so we saw all that. We saw how the avatara, there is many differences. And so in the 6th verse, Bhagavan says, Ajaha apisan, even though I am birthless, deathless. Birthless includes deathless. Avyayatma, unchanging Atma I am. Atma means I am the I in all. And even though I am known as Ishvara in relation to all the 5 elements and everything that has come out of the 5 elements, i.e. elementals, I am known as Ishvara. Still, Swam Prakritim Adhishthaya, taking recourse to, taking the help of my Prakriti, my Shakti. Then what do? Atma Mayaya Sambhavami. Magic. I just think of a body, give myself a body, and here I am. And the body is dependent on what is needed. Okay, so that's why what was needed to save the earth from the deluge was what? Fish avatara, Matsya avatara. Then there was the churning of the ocean. Sometimes we have to see this. It has laden with all kinds of metaphors. Beautiful story. Devas on one side, Asuras on the other side, and churning the ocean for good deeds. But before good deeds come, bad things have to come. Like hala, poison, etc. has to come. And then to take the biggest mountain, Mandara Parvata, as a churning rod, and they put it in the ocean. What happens to it? it starts to sink. And then suddenly the Kurma Avtara comes and it is put on the back of that which holds up the churning rod so that this whole story can continue. It's a beautiful allegory on the unconscious mind and self-knowledge. It's just amazing. Sometime we will look at it, maybe during some satsang or something like that. Very, very beautiful. So then we have so many avatars, but of all the avatars, Rama and Krishna are the most popular because they are most relatable. Human form. Even though the Kurma, Matsya are there, but nobody goes Hare Matsya, Hare Matsya, Matsya Matsya, Hare Hare. Nobody does that. Nobody goes like that. What do we say instead? Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We don't say Hare Kurma, Hare Matsya. It's not, and we don't celebrate the birthday of the Matsya. Okay, even though they are all avatars, but certain avatars are much more beloved, much more relatable. Buddha also, much more relatable, much more beloved, much more because they are in the human form. And for the Hindu Dharma, Rama, Krishna, hands down, and then after that, Narasimha. So these three are the most relatable to the people, and so that is how one goes about in one's life. And then the other thing we have to know here, after this section concludes, is that even though studying about the avatara fills one with awe. I mean, what a way to start the chapter. This is so much fun to understand how the avatara comes, etc. That avatara is non-different from oneself. Only difference is upadhi. That is what is the purport of this chapter, and as we go along, that is what is going to be highlighted. The Avataravada is just to make one pay attention to this whole story of how Lord Krishna became this avatara in this particular section in the Mahabharata, and also to have that bhakti, shraddha, and to know where to start. But the starting point is not the end point, as will be made extremely evident by this chapter. Then next, after looking at the swarupa of the avatara, then we come to the purpose of the avatara, and the purpose of the avatara is to protect dharma. So then the two verses talk about that. The purpose of the avatara is talked about. When does the avatara come is talked about in verse number 7. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharat. Glani means neglect. Dharma is on the decline. Dharma is being neglected. Why? Habit and ragadveshas. Ragadveshas are the habit actually. When ragadveshas become habitual, then along with that, the temptation to cross dharma also becomes habitual. In the beginning, if supposing one wants to try out one's hand at what is called shoplifting. Shoplifting means picking something from the shop and leaving without paying. Okay, yeah, that's called shoplifting. So in the beginning, what will one get away with? One will try a small packet of chewing gum or a small candy, chocolate, or something like shoelaces, something small. Heart is beating fast, one has broken into a sweat, and oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, and one feels everybody is looking at me because one has not violated dharma till then. This is the first occasion to violate dharma, and then what does the person do? The person's heart is jumping out of the mouth. It is so scary. One is just covered in fear. Then one understands, oh, they say that there are people there in the shop looking for psychological cues. I better try and act normal. But then what is normal? Here one is sweating, one is petrified, one is so frightened. Somehow one makes it to the front door, even after crossing the front door, looking to the left, looking behind, looking to the right, looking everywhere. And then finally one goes away from the shop, turns the corner, catches a bus or gets into a car or whatever it is. Made it. And then next time what happens? Little more thick skin develops. Oh, I got this. And in fact, after 2-3 heists, getting away with small items, next time bigger and bigger items are looked at with lesser and lesser fear. This is how the ragadveshas and violating dharma can become habitual if the vigil is not maintained. And the vigil is not maintained when the critical mass of people, all of them who are supposed to follow dharma, are doing what? Following adharma. And the people who are supposed to not only follow dharma but teach dharma, what are they doing? They are not following dharma at all. Like the parents who tell the children, do not tell a lie, always tell the truth. I know you are lying. And then what? The child inadvertently answers a phone call. The father does not want to talk to the person and instructs the child, tell so and so I am not at home. 5-year-old, 6-year-old child, what will it do? It will say, my daddy sitting here is telling me to tell you that he is not at home. And this way, and then the child gets scolded. The child is confused. Do as I say, but not as I do. The child doesn't understand this. So when this confusion reaches a critical mass, there is ragadvesha building up. It's just like the whole cosmos is a reflection of the individual body. In the individual body also same thing happens. There are so many bacteria and viruses kind of living harmoniously. They are not doing anything. There is a kind of a balance maintained. But then the season changes, or it starts to rain, or it starts to get cold, or everybody is falling sick, immunity is low. Then there is a little disruption. Something causes a little disruption. And then all it needs is for one to eat something slightly wrong, and then the whole system is disturbed. And the disturbed individual system also has the capacity to correct itself. Yes, medicines are helpful, antibiotics are helpful, everything is prayers are helpful, but Bhagavan has given a kind of a system, a systemic way for the balance to be regained. Immediately the bacteria that the stomach will try to get rid of. And if it comes through the respiratory infection, the nasal passages will try to get rid of. All this is there. Even a small disturbance in the nostrils causes one to sneeze. It is the body's system trying to get rid of it. And similarly, in the cosmic system also, there is an inbuilt mechanism of bringing everything back to a certain beautiful harmony, a stasis. And that is the function of the avatara. If we can understand how in the individual system, any kind of a disruption is repaired, similarly in the world, in the Jagat, there is a cosmic system of avatara, and that avatara comes in order to protect, in order to protect the system of dharma. Because without dharma, we cannot go on. What is dharma? A universal matrix of norms that does not have to be taught because it is inbuilt. Even a 2-year-old knows. If the mother says don't go there and it has gone there, then it will look guilty. If the mother catches it red-handed, it will look very guilty. And so this dharma is inbuilt in the system. And all the Sunday schools of the world and Bala Vihars and children's teachings, whatever we have, only go to reiterate what is already there. That's why it makes sense to the child. It makes sense to not do this because it's already there. That is what keeps the balance. This is how the balance is kept. I don't, because everything, how many police are you going to put in what situations? It's not possible to monitor the whole Jagat. Because there will be violations at every corner and every second. That's why it has to rely on unwritten laws that people themselves, out of the greatness of the heart, follow. That is what is the success of dharma. In English, we call it the golden rule. What is that? Do unto others as you want them to do unto you. Do not do unto others what you don't want them to do unto you. That's why dharma is the first purushartha. And it is, even though somebody may say, I don't particularly like to follow dharma. You like it when other people are dharmic towards you. That's why it is a beloved purushartha. I want other people to open the door for me. I want other people to say sorry. I want other people to say thank you. I want them to be polite. I want them to be loving. I want them to accommodate me and my shortcomings. I want them to be kind. I want them to be adjustable, flexible. This is all dharma. And I can't guarantee that until I am all those things in relation to other people. It's a wonderful system, self-monitored, based on the concept of duty, based on the concept of Ishvara, because in our tradition, dharma is not a mandate of Ishvara. It's not a commandment of Ishvara. It's a manifestation of Ishvara. It's really brilliant. And so this dharma gets disturbed just like the individual stomach gets disturbed by ingesting wrong things or by any kind of systemic disturbance. And so here too, by many people ingesting too many objects of raga and dvesha, the system can get disturbed. And when the system is very, very disturbed, yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. And then not only there is neglect of dharma, abhyutthanam adharmasya. Abhyutthanam means the rise of adharma. Not just the decline of dharma, because the decline of dharma inevitably means the rise of adharma. Adharma is the opposite of dharma. That's why when one declines, the other comes up. Abhyutthanam adharmasya tada at that time atmanam srijamyaham. I give myself a magic body and I create myself because my intervention is needed to bring the system back from disharmony to harmony. Okay, how are you going to accomplish that? Please look at the next verse. Paritranaya sadhunam. Sadhu here doesn't mean people who are wearing orange. Sadhu means everybody who fulfills the definition of the word sadhu. What is the definition of the word sadhu? Parakaryan sadhnoti iti sadhu. The one who lives to help others, to serve others. So people who are in service of others naturally, not because they have an agenda, just because they are there and they can help and naturally they extend their hands. They have the ability, they have the time, even if they don't have the time, they make the time, they have the space, and they would like to be of service. Even from people who they know will not ever give them anything in return. That is the meaning of the word sadhuhu. Feminine, sadhvi. Same thing, guruhu, gurvi. Same thing. Feminine would be sadhvi, gurvi for all the u ending nouns. U vowel ending nouns. It will be the feminine, sadhuhu, masculine. So masculine here includes sadhvi also. And when you say guru, it includes gurvi also because Sanskrit is like that. So then we have the paritranaya sadhuna. People who are dharmic, people whose life is not just like the people who we saw in the third chapter, who cook for themselves, who eat for themselves. Bhagavan criticized them as aghayuhu indriyaramaha mogham partha sajivati. Aghayuhu, their whole life is papa and their life is wasted. Moghasha, mogha karmanaha. And like this he will say later on, but mogha means useless, wasted life. Those who are wasting their lives, those are not the people who are talked about here. But here the opposite of that, sadhus means helpful people. People who are born, even if they are not born, either they have a natural proclivity to help others or they have cultivated the proclivity to help others because they know that this is the best thing to do. They derive joy out of helping others. So paritranaya, paritraha, tranaya, tra, to protect. Because such people will be the last people to protect themselves. When some accident happens, they will be busy saving others even at the cost of their own lives. They will go the extra mile. They will not be just confined to just saying how to save myself. They will instead be helping somebody else. And so, tra, to protect those who are not inclined to protect themselves first. Pari plus tra, all around, to protect them all around. Who are these people? Who have given their lives for others. Paritranaya sadhuna. Vinashaya. Vinashaya, to destroy. Dushkrita. Dushkrit means the people who do adharma, who have a long list after their names. Oh, of degrees, MA, PhD, like that. No, no, no. Long list. Most wanted. Sometimes the government will post a face of the person. And in all countries, I'm sure it is there. Underneath will be written what? Most wanted. This is the person. Infamous. And so such people who are disturbing the sadhus, who are disturbing all the innocent people, who are disturbing people minding their own business, going about their day, going about their lives. And so to destroy them. Why should they be destroyed? Well, when all else fails, they got to be destroyed. They have to be destroyed. Bhagavan does not destroy right in the beginning. Bhagavan gives chances to change. Ravana was given so many chances. Even at the last minute he was given chance. Even now you can save yourself. But the 10 heads, meaning so much ego, would not let him bend and ask for forgiveness. All he had to do was invoke Vishnu, but he couldn't even do that. So much he was egotistical. Krishna gave Duryodhana how many chances to stop the war and turn over a new leaf. Even if he had agreed to giving one room, one house with 5 rooms in a village, one room with 5 corners, he would have been absolved of his papa and his greed. But he did not agree. Lots of chances are given. Bhagavan gives many chances. And at some point the time is up. So vinashaya dushkritam. And by that what happens? The balance is regained. Dharma samsthapanarthaya. Artha here means purpose. For the sake of re-establishing dharma. Samsthapana means punaha, re-establishing. It's not that newly dharma is being established. What is happening is that it is being re-established. It was there, now it was gone, it is being re-established. Dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami. Magically I will come. When? Yuge yuge. Yuge yuge, even though we hear as in every yuga, it must not be assumed one yuga, one avatara. Some yugas may go without any avatara, it's not necessary. It's just an expression, yuge yuge. It could be that in one yuga there is so much adharma that many avataras are needed to protect dharma. And it could also be that many yugas go by before the avatara comes. Why? Because people are behaving themselves. There is no Ishvara needed. So all these things we have to see. Because yuge yuge means, generally speaking, yuge yuge iti vadati. Lord Krishna will just say yuge yuge. The other thing we have to understand is that dharma is, cannot be, dharma is not something to be protected, because it is a system of values. In the Mahabharata there is a very wonderful expression. Dharmo rakshati rakshitaha. Rakshitaha dharmaha rakshati. So a protected dharma in turn protects. But how to protect dharma? What is this dharma that I am trying to protect? Where is it, first of all? It's just like how, during this happened during any kind of tyrannical rule, like during the time of Mughal rule in India, lots of manuscripts were destroyed. So many manuscripts were destroyed, very much so. And so like this, so here the protection of dharma by itself is not a possibility, because it is not a thing. It's a complex matrix of norms. So how do you protect dharma? You can't protect dharma. You have to protect the dharmi, dharmin, the one who is in dharma, the one who is practicing dharma. That is the one you have to protect. So that's why paritranaya sadhuna. That's why the sadhus come into the picture, because they are following dharma. When they are protected, and then dharma is naturally protected. And when the adharmis are destroyed, then adharma they carry with them, the adharma is also destroyed, if they cannot be brought around. If they are able to be brought around, okay, no problem, theek hai, it's okay, they can come along, they are given a chance. But then they are destroyed. If they are not able to go with the flow of Bhagavan, they are destroyed. I mean, it's the same thing. If you want to protect science, I mean, one way is to protect the books. But then the books are all static knowledge. These are all discoveries up till now. Later on, whatever discoveries are there, they will not be in the books. You can protect science by protecting the scientists. You protect music by protecting the musicians, in whose head and heart the tunes and the ragas live. You protect the art by protecting the artists. So you protect dharma by protecting the sadhus. That is the purpose of the avatara. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. We have seen all the words, and very beautiful. If we understand this properly, very beautiful. Then the next one he says, Janma cha karma cha, Janma karma cha me divyam. My birth and the karma that I do in the world are not worldly. They are all Ishvara-esque, Divyam. Only few people can understand. Not everybody can understand. And the ninth verse, is that the ninth verse? Yes. Yeah. The ninth verse is going to take a little bit of a turn of the topic. Up till now, verses 1 to 4, we saw the stuti of the Bhagavad Gita and the knowledge of the Upanishads, which is enshrined in the Bhagavad Gita as being part of an important Kshatriya lineage that has protected it. And now fewer and fewer people are practicing it, and it has to be revived. And that is one of the purposes of Lord Krishna's birth and the reason why he is giving it to Arjuna. We saw that. Then, because of Arjuna's question, Lord Krishna takes a little detour from verses 5 to 8 to talk about Avataravada and what is the purpose of the Avatara, what's the Swarupa of the Avatara, and what is the difference between Jiva and Ishvara as Avatara, what is the difference between the Jiva's birth and Ishvara's birth. All that is talked about in detail. But then the Bhagavad Gita would not be doing her job if she did not say that whatever the Avatara knows, if you know and if you understand the Avatara, then you are one with the Avatara. This is oneness. Because this is not the Avatara, the Avataravada is not given to sit and worship and wonder when is Lord Krishna coming again. Because even if he comes again, we might miss him if we are looking for something that is tangible. The truth is, Lord Krishna never left. Lord Krishna never came. Lord Krishna never went. Lord Krishna is always there. In the sunset, in the sunrise, in the raging river, in the mountains, in other people that you see, in the flowers, in the smile of a small child, everywhere there is Lord Krishna. I have to develop the eyes to see. So, this is what is the lesson of the Avatara, not to catch hold of the Avatara and make him or her sit right there and then, do, what is that? Arati. No, that is not the purpose of the Avatara. Permanently, I want to make this Avatara sit in front of me, and I am born, I consider myself, people who are born around the time of the Avatara consider themselves very, very fortunate, and then they had this Avatara to play with, to scold them, to teach them. This is, this is a kind of a bhakti that is there in much of the Srimad Bhagavatam. We find this. And people go crazy after this. Why? Because that viraha means that longing and that separation becomes part of this narrative of this bhakti. And it's a particular kind of bhakti that thrives in this longing. But the kind of bhakti that Vedanta advocates goes beyond the longing to gaining a sense of belonging. That is the difference. I am you. You are not outside of me. I am not outside of you. So from longing to belonging. The longing has its place in the spiritual growth. All the sad songs have their place in the spiritual growth. They do. The viraha, the craving, the separation, when are you going to give me darshan, the tears, all that has its place. We are not denying that. But that is not the end of the journey. That is a midpoint of the journey as is shown in the Srimad Bhagavatam itself. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Gopikas, all the milkmaids are in love with Lord Krishna. They are pining for him. They are jealous of each other because this one wants to dance with him, this one carries him off, then that one says, shoo, get lost, it's my turn, and this one brings him back, and they are all pining for him, crying for him, longing for him. And then there is a wonderful Maya during a collective circular dance with sticks. And then in this dance with sticks done with partners, each milkmaid finds that Krishna is dancing with her. Then she looks at her least favorite milkmaid on the other side of the circle. And then she sees another Krishna there. Immediately feels jealous. I thought you were with me. How did you go there? And that jealousy makes the Krishna that was with her, sparring with the sticks to the tune of the music, suddenly disappear. Then she sits and cries and looks for him everywhere. And she says, I'm so sorry, I got jealous. Then he comes back. Then he comes back. This is all an allegory. This is my own subjectivity. When I am covered by my own subjectivity, raga, bhaya, krodha, dvesha, then what? Bhagavan goes away. As though Bhagavan is covered by the eclipse of raga, dvesha, bhaya, krodha. And when I am secure in myself, I am one with Bhagavan. So, lots of tears are there. So, when the gopikas cry, they cry in song. But it is still song. It is still tears. You can cry in Shruti or you can cry out of Shruti. You can cry in tune or you can be out of tune when you cry. But it is still what? Tears only. Why are there tears? Because there are fears. Fears and tears go together, longing and alienation go together, raga and dvesha go together, bhaya, krodha, raga, dvesha, sorrow, all these things are one's own subjectivity that makes as though that Bhagavan, which is the truth of myself, disappear. And again, when I enjoy moments of security, moments of not being troubled by desires, Bhagavan, as it were, reappears. Doesn't really reappear, never went. I went far away because I went to a place where I could not reach the truth of myself, could not abide in the truth of myself. And so this ninth verse is going to say that those who know Bhagavan, those who know the truth of the avatara, gain the truth of themselves. Gain the truth of themselves as Bhagavan. This is the only purpose of talking about avatara, whether it is in the Srimad Bhagavatam or whether it is here or whether it is in the Mahabharata. Wherever you find discussion of avatara or even in the Ramayana, it is because you are that. What you worship, what you hold in awe. It's wonderful. That's the beginning of the spiritual journey. But that simply cannot be the end. And to illustrate that, this verse is given. Janma karma cha me divyam. So, knowing my birth and my actions in this world to be otherworldly, to be divyam, to be celestial, to be divine. Evam, in this manner, yaha vetti, the one who knows tattvataha, completely. Completely. Who knows completely. Tattvataha means along with the sara, everything in particular. Tattvataha, totally. Along with the truth of the Jiva and Ishvara being one. Then what happens to them? There is a promise given. Tyaktva. Tyaj plus tva. Tyaktva. Tyaktva means what? Giving up. Having given up. Giving up what? Deham. Giving up the body. Punarjanma. coming back. Na eti, does not come back. They do not come back. Punarjanma na eti, does not gain rebirth, reincarnation. Why? The reason for the reincarnation is avidya, and that has gone because I know what the avatara is. I know what the avatara is. So instead of catching hold of the man called Krishna, the man called Rama, what am I catching hold of? That Satchidanandatvam, which makes Rama Rama, which makes Krishna Krishna. So that's how I know Krishna is Ajaha api avyayah san Bhutanam Ishvaropi san. That is where the secret is given. The secret is given in the earlier verse. Ajopi sannavyayatma Bhutanam Ishvaropi san. That is what one has to know. One does not go by the tatastha lakshana of Brahman. One goes by the Swarupa lakshana. Tatastha lakshana is for deeper understanding, is for relating, is for worship. And then the tatastha lakshana is buttressed by, and it is understood as what? The truth of the tatastha lakshana is what? Swarupa lakshana. And that is where the I comes in. Satyam, Jnanam, Sat, Chit. That Chit brings in the Jiva. That is that Chit, that consciousness I am. I cannot be outside of this avatara. I can absolutely not be outside of this avatara. I am here. I am this alone. And you take away the accoutrements of all knowledge and everything. You take away the accoutrements, and what is there is myself alone. Myself with all the glories that this upadhi cannot enjoy. And that's okay because it is myself. And so this is what one has to know. Evam yaha vetti tattvataha, the one who knows me as this avatara, having two components. One component is that which comes and goes. And what is it that comes and goes? The Manushya birth, which turns into death. Even Krishna died, even Rama died. But Satchidananda does not die. Ajaha api avyayatma. So there are two components to this avatara. One is constant, ajaha, avyayaha. I'd stick on to that. The other one comes and goes. The Leela, the one who is playing the Krida, the one who is doing the Leela, comes and goes. If I catch on to the person who is doing the Leela, I am miserable. A permanent bhakta without jnana. That is a very sad proposition. What does one want to be? A permanent jnani who is also a bhakta. That is what one has to be. Bhakti, we don't say you have to give up. No, it transforms into Atma Jnana. So that is what it is. And so one transforms there in this way. And so, evam yaha vetti tattvataha tyaktva deham. Once their body is given up, then what? Punarjanma na eti, does not gain rebirth. Instead gains what? Mameva eti, mameti. Means they gain me. They gain me as what? As myself. As themselves they gain me. They gain me as the truth of themselves. And that's going to be talked about in the verse number 10. But then there is one more. What is this Sorjuna? Sorjuna? Okay. So, Saha Arjuna. Who is this Saha? Where does the Saha go to? Saha goes with Tyaktva Saha Deham Tyaktva Punarjanma Na Eti. The Saha goes with Yaha, the one in the first line which is Yo. Yo and so you may not recognize, so therefore it is good to point it out. Yaha Vetti Tattvataha, the one who knows me as the truth of themselves, then they don't gain, they don't need to come back because they gain me as themselves. Saha. That person gains me as herself, himself, O Arjuna. And then one more, the next verse is going to talk about how this is achieved. How to achieve this, and then what to do if one is not in that place. The subsequent verses are going to point out. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. I think there is prasad, yes?